Well, hi everyone. I'm Charles Redland with a double review of two more Netflix originals that I just saw today, 37 Seconds and Tune In for Love. The first is a Japanese coming-of-age story about a young woman, and the latter is a South Korean love story, and both these movies are goddamn fabulous. I love both of these, cutting to the chase right there, and like any multi-movie review that I do, there will be spoilers throughout, and I also want to make mention of the fact I'm not even going to try to pronounce the actors' names or the characters' names. I'm just going to screw that up right there. So I'm going to kind of keep these reviews brief, but I encourage you both to check these out because they are both really, really good. So let's start off with 37 Seconds. You have a young woman that wants to be a manga artist. She's actually really, really talented, but she also has cerebral palsy. And her mother's taking care of her and everything, and she only has her mother that she can rely on, and her mother wants to make sure she isn't taken advantage of in the world. And she also has a friend that has a YouTube channel that uses her art and steals her art. And this friend is just using her, basically. This young woman wants to, be seen as normal. She just doesn't want to be seen just for her disability. She doesn't want to have sympathy taken on her. She just wants to be treated normally. She wants to be accepted. She wants her art to be accepted. She wants to be accepted by people, just loved, appreciated, like anybody would, regardless of whether they has cerebral palsy, any medical condition, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just wants to be accepted. I mean, who wouldn't want to be accepted in her case? And what's really, really nice about this is they include some, a few animated sequences that show her drawings and her imagination and stuff like that. And whoever actually did the animations, I mean, it's her ideas, but whoever did the animations for this, really, really goddamn good. They only did it a few times, but it really did work. It really did add to the story. And what I liked about this was it felt very genuine. Now, I will say that there were some points where it was a little bit uncomfortable because she takes her writings, or her drawings rather, to a manga publishing place, and the woman, the boss in charge, says, well, your drawings are really, really good and it's a good story, but it's the sex stuff. If you don't know anything about manga, there's the sex stuff and everything. It's kind of a lot to dive into, but the boss suggests, well, why don't you sleep with somebody? Once you get some experience, come back and talk to me and stuff like that. So that kind of sets her off on wanting to get out on her own. Her mother's against this. Not that her mother doesn't think that her daughter deserves to live, but she doesn't want her, out there in the world being taken advantage of, as any parent would, want to protect their child. It's perfectly understandable, especially if their child has a medical condition. That being said, this young woman wants to get out and live. She even, hires an escort at one point because she gets stood up on a date, and that doesn't end up working all that well. That gets a little bit uncomfortable. But it's treated well. It's treated like where somebody acts like, a genuine human. Like, oh, okay, this didn't work out, but I'm not going to shun you because of that. I mean, why would I want to shun you? She is being used by certain people that she feels she can trust, but then learns that there are good people out there. She even becomes friends with another woman who happens to be an escort that has a client that it also has her condition. He's confined to a wheelchair. And what's really nice is she learns how to live and everything, and dives more into learning about her family. She wants to go meet her dad. She has this one guy that she becomes friends with that takes her to meet her dad. She meets his brother. So her uncle. It turns out that the dad died, a number of, about 5 years ago. But then, third act twist, turns out she has a twin sister. And this twin sister is teaching Japanese off in Thailand. So there she goes. She goes there, meets her, and it turns out that one was born like just a few seconds before the other. And we learn the title of 37 Seconds is how long this young woman's brain was deprived of oxygen. If she had been able to breathe sooner, then she wouldn't have these conditions. She feels like a burden. Obviously, while all this is going on, her mother is very, very worried because she has centered her life around protecting her child. And even though she means well, she does also blame herself for how her daughter is acting. And what's really fabulous about this is it all wraps around to a really nice, ending where she accepts who she is. Her and the mother form, strengthen their bond and everything, and we find out that the sister may be coming to visit at some point. So really, it shows that even though life may not always go the way you want, it does end up working out sometimes the way you need. And it really is goddamn good. I'm going to have to give it an A. It is really, really good. It's spectacularly acted and well done. The animated stuff, very, very good. But the acting in particular is what sells it. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that one off. And now we go on to Tune In for Love, a movie that I really liked. It starts in 1994. You have two people that are working in a bakery, boy and girl, and they, develop a love over this one radio show and everything, and they share some life and love and everything, and they keep getting separated, though. Just as it seems like everything's going well for them, they get separated. One gets a job, boy goes into military service, and they always manage to reunite, but never quite get back, never quite stay around, long enough to form the relationship that they want to form. They're obviously perfect for each other, but life keeps getting in the way. Eventually, they do end up eventually over the years, we go 2000, we go 2005, they do end up getting together, but there is a dark secret with the young man where it turns, well, actually, by this point, he's in his 30s, but by this point, we find out what his dark secret is, and he had a bunch of friends where you see earlier they were in the bakery, and the woman that owned the bakery saw them as hoodlums. Well, it turns out that they were all kind of part of like this, big group of friends where one of them died. And they have this thing where on the anniversary of his death, they go put money in, for the sister of the, boy that died. And obviously that would be a terrible secret to live with. Now, we don't ever really find out fully what happened. But it seems like, obviously since somebody died, it wasn't very good. And that would be a terrible thing to live with, terrible secret to live with. And what's just really nice about this movie is how the acting really sells it. The music's also really goddamn good. Since it's based around, them bonding over a radio show, we have a lot of music that, musical interludes and stuff like that. Not the characters singing, as cool as that would have been. No, it's just music playing over, like, in various montages. And it is really, really nice. Now, they get together and then they kind of separate, and that's kind of the heartbreaking thing, like near the end of the movie, where she kind of goes with this other guy because she thinks that he abandoned her. And then he's still continuing with the film project he's been working on and is filming this one, the popular radio host that, they bonded over. And basically what's happening is as he's, talking, as he's, telling him how the project's going to go, he mentions, hey, why don't you say this woman's name? Somebody that he still has affection for, despite his dark secret and despite the fact that he was upset she found out because he was hoping she would not find out about the secret. He realized he also fucked up, that she really does love him. And what happened is they were playing, this song got played. She hears this. She leaves her job. She runs down. It's like old typical, love story and everything. And she runs down to the station, tells him he did such a great job. And obviously there's the bond there. And it just stops with a shot, like a still shot of her. So not sure if they got back together. I think that was kind of implied, where it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy really does love her and she loves him, obviously. So who knows what the fuck happened, but Tune In for Love was really fabulous as well. Was it cliched? Yes, it was cliched. I will not disagree there. I will say I had a couple issues. There were times where it was a little bit cheesy. And it was a little bit long. I think they could have cut off about 15 minutes, but that being said, still very well acted. The music is great. Everything is pretty much top notch. I'm going to go a little bit lower though. I'm going to say A-, but it is still really, really good. So obviously 37 seconds was, just a little bit better. But both these movies, I encourage you to check them out because they're very, very good. So anyway, that's all I got to say right there. Agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.